She laughed when I said I was leaving until she saw what I knew about her business trips. Subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow and gives me the motivation to keep sharing stories like this. I'm recording this because I need to get it out. It's been 3 months since I walked away, and people keep asking what happened. They knew Sarah and me as the couple, 5 years together, talking about marriage, the whole thing. So when I moved out overnight, when I stopped answering her calls, when I blocked her on everything, yeah, people had questions. The truth is, I loved her in a way that scared me. Not the butterflies and rainbows kind of love you see in movies. This was deeper, quieter. The kind where you catch yourself staring at her while she's reading, memorizing the way she tucks her hair behind her ear. The kind where her laugh becomes the sound you most want to hear when you walk through the door after a long day. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Cliché, I know. She was struggling with her laptop, swearing under her breath at some presentation that wouldn't load. I'm decent with tech, so I offered to help. 20 minutes later, we're talking about everything: her marketing job, my work in logistics, why the coffee shop plays such terrible indie music. She had this way of listening, like whatever you were saying was the most fascinating thing she'd ever heard. Our first date lasted 14 hours, started with dinner at 7, ended with breakfast at 9 the next morning. We just clicked. She was smart, funny, ambitious. Said she wanted to build something big in her career, travel the world, experience everything life had to offer. I admired that drive. Hell, I fell in love with it. The first year was perfect, or close to it. She moved in after 8 months. Her lease was up, and we were spending every night together anyway. Made sense. She had this infectious energy about life, always planning the next adventure, the next goal. She'd spread her work papers across our dining table, talking through campaigns and client strategies while I cooked dinner. I loved watching her mind work. The business trip started in year 2. Marketing conferences, client meetings, team building retreats, maybe once a month at first. She'd pack her little black suitcase, kiss me goodbye, and come back 3 days later with stories about boring presentations and hotel food. Normal stuff. Her company was growing, and she was good at what she did. Of course, they'd want her traveling, but then it became twice a month, then every other week, and the stories started getting vague. Oh, same old conference stuff. Just client dinners and PowerPoints. When I'd ask specifics, which city, which client, she'd change the subject or suddenly remember something she needed to do. I ignored it at first. Trust, right? That's what relationships are built on. And I trusted Sarah completely. She'd never given me a reason not to. The first red flag wasn't dramatic. It was small, stupid even. She came back from a conference in Portland with a tan in February. I mentioned it, and she laughed. Said the hotel had a great pool and hot tub area with those heat lamps. Made sense. I let it go. But then I started noticing other things. She'd come back from these trips energized in a way that felt different. Not tired from traveling and working, but almost glowing. And her phone habits changed. She'd always been pretty open with it, leaving it on the counter while she showered, asking me to check her messages if she was driving. Suddenly, it was always face down, always with her, always requiring her immediate attention when it buzzed. The doubt started as whispers in the back of my mind, little inconsistencies that didn't quite add up. She mentioned a conference in Chicago on a Tuesday, but her phone's weather widget showed sunny and 78 degrees when Chicago was getting snow that week. She came back from Denver talking about this amazing steakhouse downtown, but when I looked it up later, it had been closed for renovations the entire month she was supposedly there. I hated myself for checking. That's not who I am, or who I thought I was. But once you start noticing the cracks, you can't unsee them. The real turning point came 6 months ago. She left for a 3-day marketing summit in Seattle. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I was doing laundry and found the receipt from her coffee that morning. Except it wasn't from the airport Starbucks. It was from a cafe downtown, with a timestamp from 2:30 p.m., 3 hours after her flight was supposed to have left. My hands were shaking as I stared at that little piece of paper. There had to be an explanation. Flight delay, maybe? But when I checked the airline's website, the flight had left on time. That night, I called her hotel. "I'm sorry," the desk clerk said. "We don't have a Sarah Mitchell registered." I tried 3 other hotels in Seattle, nothing. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat in our dark living room staring at my phone, waiting for her good night text. When it came, "Exhausted from sessions today. Hotel bed is terrible, miss you." It felt like a knife in my chest. The next 2 days were torture. I went through the motions at work, came home to our empty apartment, and tried to convince myself there was some reasonable explanation. Maybe the conference was under a different name. Maybe she was staying with a colleague. Maybe. When she walked through the door Sunday evening, I almost broke down and confronted her right there. But she looked so normal, so happy to see me. She hugged me tight and asked about my weekend, and for a moment, I thought maybe I was losing my mind. But then she started telling me about Seattle, the conference center, the sessions she attended, the terrible salmon at the hotel restaurant. Every word felt like a lie now, and I could barely look at her face while she spoke. Over the next few months, I became someone I didn't recognize. I started documenting things, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't live with the uncertainty anymore. Screenshots of weather reports that didn't match her stories. Phone records showing calls to numbers I didn't recognize during times she was supposedly in meetings. Credit card statements with charges that made no sense for business trips. The worst part wasn't finding the evidence. It was how good she was at lying. She never slipped up during her stories, never forgot details or contradicted herself. She'd look me in the eyes and describe restaurants that didn't exist in cities she'd never been to, and she was so convincing that I'd start doubting my own research. I lost weight, couldn't concentrate at work, started drinking more than I should have. My friends noticed, but what was I supposed to say? "I think my girlfriend is lying about business trips, but I can't prove it and I'm slowly going insane." The final piece came 3 weeks ago. She was in the shower and her phone was on the nightstand. It buzzed with a text from conference coordinator. Except when the screen lit up, I could see it was actually saved under a man's name in her contacts. Just for that split second before the screen dimmed again. My heart stopped. I picked up the phone with trembling fingers and looked at the message preview. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Wear the blue dress I bought you." I set the phone down and walked to the kitchen. Made coffee with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. When she came out of the bathroom, humming and getting ready for another client meeting, I knew. Finally, definitively, I knew. She left the next morning with her usual kiss and her usual lie about being back Wednesday. I called in sick to work and spent the day putting together everything I'd collected over the months. Screenshots, receipts, phone records, everything. I organized it all in a folder on my laptop and backed it up to 3 different places. Then I packed a bag and stayed at my brother's house for 2 days. I needed space to think, to figure out what I was going to say, how I was going to do this. When I came back Wednesday evening, she was already home, cooking dinner like nothing had happened. She smiled when she saw me and started telling me about her trip. The client loved her presentation. The hotel had amazing room service. She missed me so much. I listened to every word while my stomach churned. Then I sat down at our kitchen table and said, very quietly, "Sarah, I'm leaving you." She laughed. Actually laughed. Not nervously or awkwardly. She threw her head back and laughed like I just told her the funniest joke she'd ever heard. Come on, she said, still smiling. What's this about? Are you upset I've been traveling so much? I know it's been a lot lately, but things will calm down soon. This is just a busy period. I know about the business trips, I said. Her smile faltered slightly, but she recovered quickly. What do you mean? I opened my laptop and turned the screen toward her. I know you weren't in Seattle last month, or Denver the month before, or Chicago in February. The color drained from her face, but she kept talking. I don't understand what you're showing me. Of course I was in Seattle. I told you about the conference, the sessions. The hotel has no record of you checking in, I said. My voice was steady, calmer than I'd expected. The conference you described doesn't exist. The weather you complained about doesn't match the actual weather that week. She stared at the screen, and I watched 5 years of lies crumble in real time. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. I have 6 months of documentation, I continued. Phone records, credit card statements, GPS data from your car. I know you've been lying about where you go, who you're with, everything. The silence stretched between us like a canyon. She finally closed her mouth and straightened up, and for a moment I thought she might confess. Explain. Apologize. Instead, she got angry. You've been spying on me? She said, her voice rising. Going through my things? Checking up on me like some psycho stalker? I needed to know the truth. The truth, she was shouting now. The truth is, you're paranoid and controlling, and who is he? The question cut through her anger like a blade. She stopped mid-sentence and stared at me. The conference coordinator who wants you to wear the blue dress he bought you. Who is he? Her face went white, then red, then white again. She sat down heavily in the chair across from me and put her head in her hands. We sat like that for maybe 10 minutes. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator and her quiet breathing. When she finally looked up, her eyes were wet, but I felt nothing. How long? I asked. 2 years, she whispered. 2 years, half of our relationship. While I was falling deeper in love with her, planning our future, thinking about rings and houses and children, she was living a completely different life. Do you love him? She nodded, not meeting my eyes. Did you ever love me? That made her look up. Yes, she said, and for the first time in months, I believed her. I do love you. I love him too. I closed the laptop and stood up. I'll be back this weekend for my things. Where are you going? I don't know yet. She followed me to the door, crying now, asking if we could talk, if we could work through this, if I could forgive her. But I was already gone, you know? Mentally, emotionally, I'd left the moment she laughed. The strangest part? Walking away felt like relief. Not happiness, not satisfaction, just relief. Like I'd been holding my breath for 6 months and could finally exhale. I moved in with my brother temporarily, then found my own place last month. Small apartment, nothing fancy, but it's mine. I sleep through the night now. I don't check my phone every 5 minutes. I don't analyze every conversation for hidden meanings. People ask if I miss her, and honestly, I miss who I thought she was. I miss the woman who existed in those first perfect months before the lies started. But that person was never real, was she? She was just a character Sarah played until she got bored with the role. I don't hate her. I probably should, but I don't. I feel sorry for her, actually. She chose to live in deception for 2 years. She chose to hurt two people who loved her rather than be honest about what she wanted. That's a choice she has to live with. As for me, I'm learning to trust my instincts again. Learning that sometimes love isn't enough. That sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is walk away. Learning that the truth, even when it destroys everything you thought you knew, is always better than a beautiful lie. I'm recording this because I want to remember. Not the pain, but the lesson. Never again will I ignore the red flags. Never again will I let someone make me doubt my own reality. Never again will I love someone more than I love myself. Sarah tried calling for weeks after I left, texting, emailing, showing up at my work. I never responded. What was left to say? She made her choice long before I made mine. I heard through mutual friends that she moved in with him last month. The conference coordinator, turns out he's married too. Some patterns never change, I guess. But that's her story to tell now. This is mine, and I'm finally ready to close this chapter and start writing the next one.